Welcome to It's a Crime. I'm Linda, and today I thought it would be a good idea because of all the commotion surrounding stepmother Tecia Stauch. She is the stepmother of Gannon Stauch, who's been missing since last Monday, January 27th, from Colorado Springs, or just east of Colorado Springs. Before I get into the timeline, make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already and click that notification bell. Make sure you share this and also give it a like. Now let's get into it. I just want to remind you that Al Stauch was away that weekend for training, so we're going to only talk about the point of view from Tecia, but I did want to say that just in case you didn't know or that you've forgotten. So on Sunday, January 26th, Tecia says that she went hiking to Garden of the Gods. And there is a picture of her backing that claim up that she did go hiking that day. She's pictured with her younger daughter and also Gannon. And in the background, there's a guy there, and he's turned facing the other way. Now, some people are claiming that maybe that picture wasn't correct or it was on a different day, but the guy in the picture, apparently, he said that he was there, that's him, and he was there that day. Then Tecia states, which you can see in her interview, she states that she went to Burger King after that. So I wonder if she stopped off at Burger King on the way home from the hike, or if she did that after she got home and went out and got food and came back. I'd love to know that. Now, supposedly, Tecia's 17-year-old daughter, Harley, does see Gannon home after the hike. And on that interview that she had, Harley came out and she said, yes, I can vouch that Gannon was there. I came home from work and he was there. But that was on Sunday, remember. Now, the only other people that vouched for Gannon, besides the stepmom and besides the stepsister, was actually a neighbor who last reportedly saw Gannon on Sunday morning. So there is nobody else up until some video that can vouch that they saw Gannon. So I wonder if there's actually footage, and I'm betting there is, if they did go on the hike, which it looks like they did. If there's footage that shows them going in and they head to the mountains and it corroborates with the time with going to the mountains, taking a hike, and then coming back home, and maybe they even came out with Burger King. Or she left later in the day and came back with the Burger King. So that's another question. So then at 6:55 p.m. on Monday night, there's a call that Gannon is a runaway, and authorities come by 10 p.m., I believe it was. They go search the area. I found that interesting right away, that 6:55, that call about him being a runaway. I could see that being a teenager, but I found that super strange that you have an 11-year-old that's automatically regarded as a runaway. I want to know what was said in that 911 call, if that's where they called, was 911, and what was said, because why is he automatically a runaway? You would think for an 11-year-old it's automatically missing until it's deemed a runaway. If you know the answer, please put it in the comments below. I super appreciate it. So let's get to Monday. Now, Monday morning, Gannon does not go to school. And there is a text that I saw from Tecia, or T. Stauch, that says that he wasn't feeling well. He had a stomach ache and he was going to a doctor's appointment. So then, thanks to the neighbor who has submitted this footage, Tecia was seen actually in a red truck. She walks to the red truck, she goes in, and then she actually goes from the sidewalk, turns out, and then backs into her driveway. Then she gets out of the truck, and you can see two people get into the truck and one in the back, which I'm assuming is Gannon. It isn't the best quality of video from what I saw, but I am going to put it on my TV. I just really wanted to get this out here, and then we can talk about that a little bit more. Then Tecia leaves the door open of the truck, and then what it looks like, what I think, back into the house. And then at the same time, there's a black car driving as the two are getting into the vehicle. So I'm wondering if law enforcement actually contacted the owner of the car and asked them, like, what did you see? Did you see these two people get in? Maybe that person noticed something. So I can definitely see why the neighbor went from his iPad to the TV, because it does need to be blown up. And I timed it. It's a total of 4 minutes from when they go into the truck and from the time that it actually pulls away. So now she almost has 4 hours unaccounted for. Now, a dedicated subscriber was up all night, so thank you so much to This Is It, who emailed me with these pictures. And she showed a map of a boundary of where he could be, just judging on the timeline of the 4 hours that she was gone. So I found another source that says that the stepmom and the sisters were on camera shopping and purchasing items on Monday around 1:45 to 2 p.m. and Gannon not seen in the video. Now we know he had a sore stomach, or that's what she said, and he appeared to be on the video walking slow. So she says he has a sore stomach. Reports are saying that she was actually in a store buying things with the sisters, so perhaps, maybe, that he was sitting in the vehicle. But the issue is that 2:15, the truck comes back and there's no Gannon in it. And I noticed that the truck comes back home, parks on the sidewalk, and then waits almost 30 seconds and then backs into the driveway. But now there's a car beside it. There's a black car. And I'm wondering, is that the car that drove by earlier, or it could be a different black car? Who drives that car? If you know, put it in the comments below. But there's definitely a black car, and 4 hours ago there wasn't the black car. So who drove the car? And where's that video? Who's in that car? Could Gannon have been in that car? I just want to know who drove that car. Now, once that truck backs into that driveway, there's a good 40 seconds before Tecia gets out of the truck. So now we go on to Tuesday morning. There is a text floating around and it's by Tecia, and she says, somebody was asking her what's going on, and she says this happened after 3:30. We talked to him and then told him to be home by 6. Now, I'm saying, like, okay, if Al is already gone, who's we that told him to be home by 6? Unless maybe Al talked to him that day. But she goes on to say, but was here in the afternoon. Then she goes on to say he had to go to doctor for his stomach, but was here in the afternoon. And I'm thinking, okay, was there a doctor's appointment? Where is the doctor's appointment? Then we get to the interview. She seems pretty confident that he's not dead. And I'm thinking, okay, so if he's not, then where's Gannon, Tecia? You're the last one to see him. Where is he? What did you talk about? Why did he not go to school? Did he actually have a stomach ache? What doctor did you go to? How long was it at the doctor's office? Why didn't he come back with you? If he's not at school and he had a stomach ache and you were taking him to the doctor, what'd the doctor have to say? Right? And not only that, if it's a pretty bad stomach ache that you have to go to the doctor, maybe he might feel fine a little bit later, enough to go out with friends. But the issue is, where's that video? Because he didn't come home with you at 2:15. Now, we're going to go a little bit more into the interview. In this video, I talked about a lot of her verbiage, a lot of the words that she used in the video, and my thoughts and opinions, so you could see it right there. But I wanted to review the video again, and I wanted to point out a couple of things. First, she's wearing glasses to hide herself. She has her head turned around, so her whole body is turned away from the camera. She even has sleeves that are covering her fingers with holes in them. And a lot of people wear that. It is cold. I hate being cold, so I would do that as well. However, I'm sure she's seen enough of cases like Chris Watts where people come on camera and they damn themselves, right? Look at Chris Watts. Clearly lying. He's doing a lot of weird body motions, lack of emotion. There's all kinds of things, and people are ripping him apart, and rightly so. But they are, right? So she takes a page from his book, possibly, or somebody's book's like, okay, no, I'm going to turn around from the camera because I'm getting death threats. And she probably did. It's not fun getting death threats, even if you're innocent, right? It's not. But she's doing all these factors in hiding. This is kind of good because I'm watching her hand movements. And there's 2 points in the video where she changes her hand movement. So she's doing a lot of this, and she's, talking like this. The first one is where she's talking about people saying Gannon is dead. Why is people saying Gannon's dead? He's not dead. But she turns her hands like this. And I thought, that's different. She hasn't done that yet. And I did a little snooperson, and I looked up online about the psychology of different hand movements and that kind of thing. And I found something where it had the person's hands like this. And it's actually called, I'll put it on the screen, one of these places, because I can't remember the actual name of it. But they did have Trump as an example. Now, first off, I'm Canadian, okay? So I'm just showing this picture because that was the example in the article. And Don't be hating because I have no idea of politics in the States. I know it's President Trump. I've heard a lot of things, but I'm not gonna, this is not a political anything. I just wanted to show you the picture of what was shown. So his hands are like that, and this is the example that they're saying. They're saying that it's to say my hands are clean. I have nothing to hide, right? So she does that. Now that could mean a variety of things, but she's saying, why is people saying Gannon's dead? He's not dead, right? So my hands are clean. I have nothing to hide right now, right? Doesn't mean she doesn't have anything to hide, but right now she's showing
all these theories on how Gannon is dead, and that's what they're saying. So I'm like, why are you saying Gannon is dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon.
And she does that again at the end of the video. Have a listen and watch her do the same thing.
He moved on a military move, and I didn't finish out my contract, so I gave up my license in that state. It had nothing to do with any criminal activity, you know, or any of those things, and it just got blown out of proportion on my professional status, you know. And
then she brings her daughter out. She wants to verify that, yes, 17-year-old Harley has seen Gannon at home after the hike. Well, why don't you drag her out and ask her if she's seen her on the Monday? There are a couple more things I'd like to point out. I would like to know if that red truck is hers or if it is a rental. People are chatting online, but I want to get my sources and my facts straight. So I want to know, is that truck actually Tecia's? One of the neighbors actually said, and I'm going to quote this, she said, "I live next door too. This mom usually tells me when something happens to their kids. I'm retired at home all day. She didn't say anything to me yesterday. I called her this morning when I recognized his photo." So she's saying that usually she talks it up all the time when something happens to her kids, but she said absolutely nothing. So that's another red flag. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about too was yesterday when I talked about the interview, or it might have been the other video, but I was talking about how Tecia was saying in her interview about, I can't even go home. And at first I was so confused because like, wait a minute, if Gannon's missing and she's trying to help, why isn't she allowed to go in the house and all these things? But it does make sense. That video we just saw, they had that video before. They had to have. Otherwise, why else would Al have to kick her out of the house? Why else would she not be allowed to go in, not even for clothing? And all these things. It has come down to what people are saying is that Tecia was actually married to Landon's brother. And then she cheated, and so did Al with each other. And then they got married, and Landon and Tecia were best friends. That's what I heard, that's what I read. Now, I don't know for sure, so just take that as it is. But it does make sense about the extra animosity, and it does make sense about them knowing something was up from the get-go because she got kicked out of the house. Why else would you do that? I guess everybody has a different dynamic, but you would hope that everybody would put the differences aside and then just focus on Gannon. So there's some crazy stuff, and clearly she's lying because there's proof she's lying. Now on Thursday, there's also sources that confirmed that Tecia was at Marshall's at Woodman and Academy, and the authorities took possession of a white VW Jetta at around 1:45 p.m. and the car was towed to the evidence compound. My question is, was that white car on surveillance, and what did they get of it? Obviously, we're not going to know right now, but I am curious. That also corroborates with what she said on her interview, because she was talking about how she was shopping in the store and for clothes, and the El Paso County Sheriff's came and they were handcuffing Harley, and she said just over some keys and all this other stuff. So you can hear that in the interview, but that was on Thursday. The other interesting things I found was she had a couple of, besides being on Facebook, and you can't really see her stuff now, but she has a couple of different social media accounts. I saw on Poshmark and I saw on Pinterest, and she also had one, and this was from other viewers that told me and showed me that she had a sugar daddy account, and she uses the same usernames as the other accounts. So possibly that's her, I don't know, but looks like marriage was trouble in paradise as of the 26th, because there is some stuff floating around on the 26th. What are your thoughts about Gannon? I really, really, really hope he comes soon and safe. I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of different dynamics after this, but I just want him safe. And I know there's a lot of you out there who's worrying, and the family. I did see a interview or a press conference with Landon and Lena and Al, and she was just pleading with people to come forward with anything that you may or that you may know, no matter how small or how big. Let me know your thoughts below. I believe I covered everything that I could from my gatherings of my info. And thank you so much for those of you who are helping me out as well. It takes a lot of research and it takes a lot of time to make sure that the facts are straight and to make sure that the timeline is okay and that kind of thing. So I appreciate your support, and I appreciate you subscribing and commenting and giving me your thoughts and ideas, no matter if you agree or disagree. That's awesome. Just keep it classy. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and hit that share button. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.